guys, my name is Izelle Hoffman. I'm a lifestyle chef and welcome to my Facebook cooking page. Now this evening we are going to be cooking with Viavi avocados, and why am I so excited about this specific ingredient? That we're going to be talking about a little bit later. Now the whole idea about the cooking this evening was, first things first, you had to go onto the Food and Home, which is a fantastic media partner for this campaign. You had to go onto their Facebook page and have a look at the link, because you do stand a chance to win a hamper for more than 5,000 Rand. And in this hamper, what is included? Well, of course, you win a masterclass cooking course with me, a one-on-one. You get to win one of my cookbooks, as well as fantastic Viavi accessories and an Optify, a beautiful Pamper at Home voucher. Now that voucher would then entitle you to get fantastic goodies, which includes some of their exfoliating wash and also some of their Pamper goodies, which is some of the favorites that I prefer to use at home, specifically in the lockdown, and even some of them are available for delivery. So be on the lookout for that. Have a look at my Facebook page, have a look at Food and Home's Facebook page, and then make sure that you join the evolution with Viavi Avocados and myself, because like I said, you have to tag and cook along and tag us on all these pages so that we can select the winner, of course. Now first things first, we are going to be going through the ingredients. Hopefully you did purchase your ingredients beforehand, because like I said, this is a cook along, so ideally, you know, we would love to have the same dinner this evening. So what you had to do was start first of all with pre-cooked pasta. Now let's just talk about pasta for a second, because you know, the whole sort of general perception out there is that pasta is not the most ideal ingredient to have for dinner. Now for that reason, happy earth people, their pasta is one of my favorites, and I maybe need to explain why. I absolutely love chickpeas, and for those of you that did join the Viavi cook along about 2 weeks ago, we'd make creamy Viavi cups. And the other ingredient in there was chickpeas as well. And why? Because chickpeas is anti-inflammatory, it's low GI, people, which makes it ideal as a dinner option, but also it boosts the immune system. And during these lockdown times, that is actually so important, because if you have a good and healthy gut, it means good fibers. The chickpeas contains fibers, of course, and of course our Viavi avocados also contains fibers. So a good and healthy gut means a good and healthy body, and of course a good and healthy mind, because if you are stuck at home and you are in lockdown, there's only so many different places you can go. So your mental health, people, is also important, because if you're not going to have the right mindset, trust me, you're going to struggle to stay positive during these times. So like I said, my pasta of choice is then of course our Happy Earth People's pasta. They do have a red lentil one, and of course the chickpea one, which I said was my favorite. This is actually the one that I did cook tonight. So rest assured, we are not consuming a high carb content dinner this evening. So over then to the other ingredient that you had to pre-cook, and I'm sort of going to lift my pan up a little bit here so that you can see. Now this is my pre-cooked chicken fillets. Now the way I've prepared it, because remember at the end of the day, the Viavi avocado in our beautiful creamy sauce is going to be the star of the show. So you don't want to pair it with your protein of choice, which is chicken in this case, and we're going to talk about that later as well, because there's a reason I love selecting chicken as my protein source of choice in the evenings, because it's not so heavy on the stomach. Reason being, it's not so heavy to digest, and it's also not so acidic as that you find your red meats. But remember, if you're going to be consuming dinner quite late, the problem is you might be going to dinner, but your stomach isn't. And if you have a lot of heavy proteins and stuff like that in your stomach, it actually means that you're not going to sleep that well. And good quality sleep, people, is also so important, because my ratio is always 70% is what you eat and the quality of quality of ingredients that you are consuming. 20% of that is then of course good quality, like exercise. It can be outdoors. Currently we are a little bit in lockdown, which limits that quite a bit, but staying active, people, just get the blood pumping is so important. And then 10% of good quality sleep is of course the third key factor that is going to sort of boost your immune system and help you recover and recharge, so that you can be the healthiest and best version of yourself every single day. So back to our protein, like I said, your chicken, we had to sort of pre-cook that. All I did was I fried in a little bit of olive oil. Olive oil is always my oil base of choice. Reason being, it is an anti-inflammatory, it's fantastic for all 4 blood groups. So if you are going to be picky with regards to sort of what kind of ingredients you are purchasing, olive oil is always my oil base of choice. I do like frying with your normal olive oil, and then of course your extra virgin for your salad dressings and things like that is always key. Now the only thing that I seasoned it with was a little bit of raw honey. Now that was sort of an optional ingredient. Reason why I added it extra is I sort of like a slight stickiness on top of the chicken, and I season it with a little bit of ground black pepper. Why? Because if you consume pepper, it actually helps your body absorb good nutrients, and there's so many fantastic ingredients in our Viavi avocados, which we are going to be talking about a little bit later. But yes, the only last ingredient that I've added was a good quality salt. Now for those of you that have already prepared your chicken, one key secret that I can actually teach you about when it comes to cooking chicken is chicken and prawns and things like calamari. Always add the salt last, because salt is there to sort of enhance flavor, but it also dehydrates. So if you're going to be sort of adding the salt to your raw chicken, what is going to happen is you're going to sit with tough sort of dry chicken breast, because remember, the chicken breast is a lot of white clean meat, and we are looking for that succulent chicken strips on top of our pasta this evening. So I've talked enough about all the other ingredients, but let's get cooking and let's get to that creamy, beautiful avocado sauce that we are going to be making. So in my pan here, I'm also going to just lift it up. I have already pre-cut my red salad onion. Absolutely love red salad onion. Also love my shallots. This is currently shallot season, so roughly about end of May. Shallots, why I absolutely love them, as well as my red onion. They're naturally sweeter than the normal other onions that you do find, which means it's really going to enhance and play with the flavors, whether you add it to a sauce, a stew, a gravy, a salad, or whatever you decide to make with that. But this evening we're actually going to be caramelizing it. So I'm going to switch my pan on roughly on about temperature number 7. Now 7 on my stove, I've got an induction beautiful Bosch stove. 7 is always my sort of go-to temperature, and I have to explain why, because it's that safe zone when it comes to the temperature that you can get things frying and up and running, but also it gives you enough time to look at your other stuff that you might be cooking at the end of the day. And for that, we did have our chicken, and of course then our beautiful, beautiful pasta. Now with my onions, I'm actually going to be adding roughly about 2 tablespoons of our olive oil. And we already discussed, of course, the health benefits of our olive oil, and I'm going to start sort of by just stir frying that slightly. And then you'll see one of the other ingredients that we actually also had was our crushed garlic. Now let's talk about garlic for a second. Now garlic, of course, is an immune booster, fantastic anti-inflammatory as well. So it's one of those ingredients I'll always find, especially for this time of the year, to sort of just boost the immune system a little bit. But guys, we are making pasta, so pasta and garlic to me really always goes hand in hand. And if basil is your herb of choice this evening, remember, have a look in the recipe. Basil was my choice of herb, but if you didn't have basil, you can also choose any other herbs as well. But then over to our garlic. Now I'm going to be adding the garlic, of course, then with my onion, and we're going to start by stir frying that. Oh, the onion is starting to talk here in the pan and smelling absolutely beautiful. Okay, so then over to our other ingredients that we're going to be adding to the pan. You will see that I'm adding raw honey, and I'm so blessed I actually have some avocado blossom honey all the way from the farm where the Viavis is of course from. Unfortunately, this is a good quality raw honey, and I don't find the avocado blossom oil, like the honey specifically, too often on the shelf. So hint, hint, just putting a hint out there, this is a fantastic tasting honey, and the reason why I'm saying it is it's quite got a mature taste. It sort of gives the impression that it's got like a molasses taste, and I find that's sort of the perfect honey for this sauce this evening, because it really just gives that deep richness and flavor that we are looking for. So over to my tablespoon, we are going to be adding our 2 tablespoons of raw honey. This is of course to help the onions caramelize, which is fantastic because we are looking for that vibrant rich flavors at the end of the day. Where's my lid? Just putting that over there. And then let's talk about a good quality salt quickly. Now, you will see on my ingredient list, we're talking about Oryx desert salts. Now, for those of you that are sort of health conscious just like me, Oryx is, I always love to say, it is our local sort of pink Himalayan salt. So often people tell me that, you know, when you are eating healthy or trying to sort of consume healthy ingredients, that it is sort of touching the budget at the end of the month. However, you know, your Oryx salt, and I need to maybe show you sort of what the container looks like. I also love making use of the ground black pepper as well. So these, have a look at it. Always I say in good quality restaurants, if they serve Oryx desert salt or that's a standard on the table, you know that your food is going to taste absolutely fantastic. Now it's unrefined, it's unbleached, which means salt is there to sort of enhance flavors. So if you're going to make use of a good quality salt, what is then going to happen is it's really going to enhance all the beautiful flavors of the good quality ingredients that you're of course using, because if we're consuming good quality ingredients for our health, they might as well taste the best they possibly can. Now over to our recipe again, we're going to roughly add about half a teaspoon of ground. I love the sort of the coarse salt. My eye sort of a little bit, you know, quite well here in the pan, so you can, to flavor, that is about half a teaspoon that we're going to be adding there. And my onions are starting to caramelize beautifully, so I'm also just trying to reach some, or read some comments there. Is anyone sort of cooking along, struggling with the pasta, a little bit behind? People, give me a shout out if you're cooking, you know, busy with the cook along, but you are falling behind. We can take the whole momentum a little bit slower. However, this is such a quick and easy recipe, especially if you have pre-prepped your other ingredients, of course. Okay, so now we are sort of just going to check. We have our beautiful red onion here. It could have been a shallot as well. We have got our olive oil. We've got our fresh garlic. You know, we were talking about the immune boosting sort of ingredients. And so far, your olive oil, your raw honey, your onion, your garlic, and the raw honey all is anti-inflammatory, antiviral, and it's the perfect time of the year, not just because we are on lockdown, because we are moving closer to winter, to be consuming a little bit extra of these ingredients. Now we're going to caramelize them in the pan, and then we're going to slightly remove them from the heat just for a second or two, while we're then going to go over to our avocados. It is avocado season. You will see on the shelves, exclusive to Woolworths, of course, our beautiful Viavi avocados, and I've got some of these babies right here in front of me, and we're going to be talking about the color just now, because you will see that they are quite darker in color, and that does not mean they're sort of old. It actually means they are absolutely perfect. The fantastic thing about Viavis is it makes it so convenient to sort of regulate, because yes, we are in lockdown, you can't be going to the shops every day, but so many people are always saying, you know, I'm busy sort of prepping something, I've got the avocado there, but what is actually happening, I tend to always have an overripe avocado. Now with Viavis, the convenience factor there is it actually gives you 10 plus days sort of convenient shelf life if you are regulating that. And I mean, I was very fortunate to actually be spending time on the farm where these fantastic avocados come from, and what makes them so phenomenal is when you actually open them, I should actually be cutting one open while these onions are still caramelizing. Just going to grab a knife here. Let's be cutting one of them open. Now, so often people are always struggling with the little fibers that you also get in the avocados, and the Viavi avocados have got less fiber. They've got a smaller pulp, which means, of course, more meat. And I mean, we're always struggling with that thing that whenever you cut an avocado open, you're always disappointed because the pip is always too big, the flesh is never enough, and it's always sometimes full of fibers and things like that. So the people from Viavi, of course, I've got the perfect avocado. So people actually have a look at that. So for our recipe, we're going to go over to 2 avocados that we're going to be mashing up, and we're going to mix them with our beautiful unsweetened almond milk. I do prefer the one from Almond Breeze, and I need to maybe explain to you guys why. It's one of the few almond milks that I actually find on the shelf that currently contains no cornstarch, no sunflower oil, as well if you choose the unsweetened one, it's of course then sugar-free. Now again, if you have a look at the small little pip, this is fantastic news because we are after this superior creamy taste of this Viavi avocado, because this is a creamy pasta sauce after all. And for those of you that only joined now, we are busy making a creamy avocado and pepperdew pasta this evening. We are going to pair it up with a little bit of chicken, but our secret ingredient is actually our Viavi avocados, because it's more than just an avocado. So often people say that, you know, all apples are the same, and it's actually not. But did you know that not all avos are the same either? When it comes to the Viavi, you actually get a creamier, more richer taste. And it's sort of the key ingredient, which is the most important part of this recipe at the end of the day. So there's our first avocado. Now before we mash it up, just remember that you don't want to brown the onions too much, because otherwise it is actually going to be affecting the color of your sauce. So we're going to just remove that from the temperature. And then over to our second avocado. Let's just start by cutting that open. Now the fantastic thing about this recipe, of course, is you can also store it in the fridge as a salad. Now so many people do love, you know, their pasta salads, people, then this is the recipe for you, because you can serve it hot or cold. So at the end of the day, the benefit is all about your convenience and what you prefer. So just have a look at that beautiful avocado as well. We're going to go over to our spoon and sort of just scrape that out as well. Is there any questions so far? I see quite a lot of people is joining. Welcome, and I hope you have all your ingredients ready at home. Just popping the pip out there. Oh, this avocado is just perfect. Okay, just cleaning our hands a little bit. I sort of like mashing them just up with a fork. That's always the easiest. Now this is sort of perfect that the onion is sort of cooling down a little bit, because our creamy base with our avocado is actually our unsweetened almond milk. And I find that when you sometimes pour cold almond milk, so I do hope yours is sort of a room temperature to the warm pan, but luckily we're still busy mashing these beautiful avocados, so it allows our pan to cool off a little bit. Otherwise the milk can sometimes look like it's slightly curdled, so be on the lookout for that. Now while I'm busy mashing here, remember, if you are cooking along, please post your beautiful creations that you are creating at home, and you also remember to tag us with our hashtags. Join the evolution. We've got Viavi Avocado, and then join the Viavilution as well. So that is the 3 hashtags that you need to use in order to stand a chance to win a fantastic hamper, which includes some of my favorite Optify goodies, as well as one of my cookbooks, and then of course a one-on-one class with me where I get to teach you some of my cooking tips in the kitchen. Now it's sort of important to be mashing these avocados as finely as possible. Reason being, remember, this is sort of going to be the texture of your sauce. Oh, and there goes my earphone, just popping that right back in. Okay, so some of the other ingredients we also then had was our pepperdews and our almond flour. Now maybe I need to explain where the almond flour comes into play. Now I absolutely love always garnishing sort of with a flour base. A lot of people do like their Parmesan cheese, but remember, dairy does cause inflammation. So from my side, I'm always trying to sort of avoid making use of dairy products, you know, just overall. Me being with my hip problem and all sort of my health problems that I've had, you know, I've cut out dairy completely, and so far it's worked for me. So if that's sort of something that you're struggling with, arthritis, osteoporosis, things like that, try and cut out the dairy, people, because it does really help eliminating quite a lot of the inflammation at the end of the day. So you can see this avocados are now beautifully creamed. So we're going to go over to our 1 cup of our almond milk. Like I said, this is the unsweetened one from Almond Breeze. Okay, and now you're slowly but surely going to start mixing that in. So you are looking for a perfect avocado cream, because we are looking for a creamy pasta sauce. Now if you're cooking for 4 to 6 people, I would almost suggest, because you're not trying to wash too many dishes, so what you actually can do is, once you've mixed the sauce, you can actually throw it over the pasta in the pot, and once you dish that up, then perfectly sort of garnish it with your pepper dews, and then give it a little bit of sprinkle of your almond flour just to finish it off perfectly. But also, almond flour is actually an alkalizer. Now remember, if you are adding your chicken, which causes a little bit of acidity, it's always fantastic to go back to sort of your alkalizing ingredients, which is of course your almond flour. And remember, in our sauce, we're already making use of our almond milk, and then the only other ingredient we really used was our beautiful Viavi avocado. Now, I always ask people, why do you consume avocado? Is it just one of those ingredients that you just love in general? And you know, people just in general absolutely love avocados, but from a health perspective, do you know that it's actually an anti-inflammatory? It boosts the immune system, and it's so high in fiber, which means it's fantastic for the gut. So all the more reason, people, to be enjoying this pasta sauce, because remember, our pasta base of choice this evening is of course our chickpea pasta, which is also immune boosting. So you can go back and have that extra little scoop for love, just because you can. Okay, so now you can see we've got our beautiful avocado cream. Just look at the texture. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer to the camera for those of you just to sort of see as well. And now I'm going to go back to my pan with my caramelized onion. I'm going to sort of add up the temperature a little bit again. Now I'm actually going to just put it on 4. Now remember, in our pan, for those of you that only joined now, we had 2 tablespoons of our olive oil. We had our 1 green salad onion. If you had shallots, of course, at home, you could have used that as well. Sort of stir fry that with our freshly minced garlic, 1 beautiful heaped teaspoon. Now I always say heaped teaspoon because I find that you know, 1 normal teaspoon is just not enough. So if you go for that little bit of extra love, remember it is immune boosting time, so that is all the more reason to add that little bit extra. Then of course, how did we caramelize that? We added our raw honey. I'm very blessed to say, again, I've got my beautiful avocado blossom honey. Wink wink, it's almost finished, people, but yes, I work with it very sparingly because it's got a very rich, intense sort of taste. And it's always giving you that molasses kind of taste, so it's fantastic to be baking sort of your ginger biscuits and things like that with. But I'm talking too much about all the beautiful things about honey. Remember, honey is antiviral, antifungal, and it's one of that fantastic immune boosting and anti-inflammatory ingredients, and that is the reason why I love making that my sweetener of everyday choice. But over to this sauce, of course. Now you're going to start by just sort of pouring our beautiful avocado cream into the pan. Oh, there you go. And then you can give that sort of a stir through. And remember, the only other ingredient we have to add then, of course, is our fresh herbs. Now this is sort of a third of a cup. You can make it a little bit more, a little bit less. It depends on how herby you sort of like this beautiful creamy sauce to be. But this is fresh basil, and I did leave some of the leaves over here just for garnish because I do love a beautiful plate of food. I always say to people, whether you're cooking for 1, 2, 4 or a family of 8, at the end of the day, there's no reason why you can't make that little bit of extra effort with your food. Remember, I always cook with love. I say my secret ingredient is love, and you can actually taste in food if someone made it with intent and that little bit of extra love and care. So yes, I'm definitely making this bowl of beautiful pasta for myself this evening with extra love and care, because now is also the best time to start loving yourself. I mean, if there's 2 things that money can't buy, people, it's your health and it's time. And so often people always tell me, but Izelle, I don't have the time, you know, to make that lifestyle change or invest more time in myself. So now, people, you do have time because you're stuck at home and you can only go to the shops. You know, try and eliminate the unnecessary trips. But yes, you're spending time at home, and more reason to be cooking and spending that extra little bit of effort on yourself. But back over to our sauce now. Going to be adding my beautiful basil. And like I said, you can add a little bit more, a little bit less. It all depends on you at the end of the day. And then sort of just stirring that through. Now, I sort of, when it comes to chopping up your onions and herbs and things like that, I don't like chopping them up too perfectly and too fine. I sort of like the uneven texture. It makes me think that, you know, that's the way it's intended in nature. Nothing is perfect little pieces. It's like puzzle pieces that fit perfectly into each other. So I'm going to bring my pan closer. Have a look at that beautiful, beautiful creamy avocado sauce for our pasta this evening. So yes, people, that is basically it. So all you can do is you can either, if you are cooking for 4 to 6 people, you can add the sauce to the pot. Alternatively, you can scoop up or dish up your pasta separately, pour the beautiful sauce over, and then of course add your chicken. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to dish this up for myself, and I'll be taking photos and posting it online. Remember, the recipe is, of course, you can find it on the Food and Home page. It is also on the Viavi Avocado Facebook page. So also have a look at that, go and follow and give the page a follow, and remember to tag us in order to win that fantastic hamper that you can win this evening, which includes your Optify products, of course, our masterclass with me, and then of course my beautiful mindful eating cookbook that is now available on the shelves and also available as an ebook. So for those of you that have joined this evening, thank you so much for joining. Keep healthy, keep safe, keep investing time in yourself, and we will get through this, people. Together, if you start just doing your part and investing that extra little bit of time in your health, we will get through this. So have a lovely evening, enjoy your dinner, and please remember to tag us with the relevant hashtags. From my side, cheers and have a lovely evening. Goodbye.